Alright, so this is the first channel recording, so please go easy on me. I don't know exactly how this is going to work out. This is a brief analysis of a game given to me by Maurice Bishop, and yeah, I'm just going to go over it and give my thoughts as I go. So he's playing white. Black is playing a Philidor defense. Maurice likes to he loves wing attacks and gambit openings, so that's how this is probably going to go. E6, D4. The Philidor is dangerous for black because of this very vulnerable F7 square, depending on how the opening plays out. So normally here, knight to G5 is not going to be doing too terribly much because black can castle and defend the F7 pawn. Now white technically can, even if that happens, white technically can sack on F7. For instance, knight here, castles. White can sometimes get away with this, and it's actually an even material exchange. It's a rook and a pawn for, no, it's two pieces, a bishop and a knight for a rook and a pawn, so it's 6 points. That's not exactly how it played out, though. He did put his knight to G5, and black did castle into it, but Maurice had different ideas. He wasn't going to sack on F7. He wanted to do the caveman attack instead, and when H6 happens, he's just going to let that knight sit there because he's going to try to open the H file and deliver checkmate along the H file. Somehow, hopefully. So knight b6. The bishop might do well sitting on b3 here. Going to d3 like Maurice played is going directly into a self-block by his e4 pawn. So here's a pawn gambit by Maurice. He's giving up his d pawn, and the idea here is that if black takes on c3, then he's allowing white to develop, and also that's giving white the semi-open d file, which could be useful at some other point. Bishop g4, f3, and by the way, this is a 1 minute game, so don't expect too deep of play here, although I'm going to go into a few lines at some points. So h3, and Maurice was planning the whole time to just let him take on g5, somehow get his queen over here and deliver checkmate. That's the idea. So he's castling away from the king side, and he would like to perhaps bring the other rook to g1 and blast open the king side, or possibly double the rooks on the h file. So knight h5, Maurice either missed or he just wanted to run into the fork here because he just retreated the bishop and walked right into knight g3. So now he's down the exchange, and he's also about to give up another piece. Even so, the engine still is only rating this as a -2.5 for advantage for black, which, given that he just gave up the exchange and is about to give up another piece, is not that indicates that Maurice is not completely wrong in allowing all this. So he takes, white recaptures. And he's playing e5 here, which is a bit dubious in my eyes. I don't necessarily see a whole lot else going on besides that, because his strong center, and his H file is all he has right now. And pushing this e5 does also allow the knight to come to e4. So then black captures the bishop. Okay, at this point, black's totally fine here. Okay, well, black's not totally fine. Black has to see that. Black has to see that rook e8 is saving the situation. Black didn't see that, so rook e8 is saving the situation because now, if bishop comes over to deliver the check on h7, this f8 square is no longer blocking him and allowing bad things to happen when the king comes to h8 and the bishop moves somewhere else. So now when this happens, the king can just move over, and it's totally fine. Even if white wants to unpin this area here, do this, then black can just block with the queen, and it's totally fine. So black missed that opportunity of rook e8, and instead he tried to block off this b1, b7 diagonal. b1, h7, sorry. He blocked it off with his queen, which was bad. So he gives up the queen. Knight comes to the square it wanted to come to. After bishop f5, the correct plan here to deliver lots of devastating material gains is queen to b3. If the rook comes down, then we're just going to come over here, and he'll have to guard it with the other rook. And even if something like this happens, we take, and he takes, then we can even win that last rook with rook h8 and go gobble up all that. Now it's a queen versus two minor pieces and totally winning for white. Even so, he did this a bit in a reverse. He played knight to g5 first, which is still going to be devastating because black can't really stop this diagonal over here and the threats on the h-file at the same time. So the computer is recommending knight to f7. He played knight e8. Now again, Maurice had the opportunity for queen b3, but he didn't take it. Queen b3 is the same situation as before. The bishop would have to block, otherwise it gets mated here. Bishop blocks and just loses the bishop, and the king is still pinned even after knight takes, so this is just unhappy for black. So bishop here, queen went up to f4 instead, and knight to d5. So he's going to try to deliver checkmate on h8 right now. So the king wants to move over, check, and check. Okay, now he's got the queen and the rook on the 7th, which is very nice for him, for Maurice. Black doesn't really know what to do here. Knight f7. Okay. Queen to d7 is, there's no mate if this knight moves because this c7 square is covered by the knight for now. But black didn't play that. He played to c8, and this is a good move here that he played. Knight to d6. Now if black just takes this knight, which he did, it's just bad because check on b7 is going to happen, king has to go here, and then this rook is going to fall. So according to the computer, the best move is this, and black survives for another day, but then his knight here is going to fall. So that's not even super fantastic, but played here. Okay, he took, and Maurice delivered the check as he needed to. Now here he played a very dubious move, which was pawn takes d6, and he didn't notice that this move here is very, very, very dangerous. And the reason this move is dangerous is because if white just moves out of the way, right? He has two options to move out of the way. He can move to D2 or he can move to D1. Both of them are very bad. Okay, if he moves to D2, we deliver a check. Only move King D1, check. He has to move here, check. And now, whichever way the king moves, to F1 or to D1, checkmate is going to be delivered on the E1 square with this rook here. So that's very bad. Now, if the king moves instead to D1, it's still bad. Still very bad. Still checkmate, actually. Bishop is going to come say check. King has to move up. Rook is going to come say check. Now, white has two options here, up or down. If he moves down, then it's checkmate in one right here. And if he moves up, it's checkmate whichever way black wants to deliver it. This way, we have to come up, and checkmate is here. And black also has this same exact pattern, but the knight's on the other side. And this happens, which is bad for black because bad for white because he's getting checkmated. Now, black didn't see this, white didn't see this either. So black instead played bishop back. And then Maurice could have taken the rook over here, but he saw a prettier way to end things, and he played check, which looks ridiculous, but after black plays the only move, which is knight takes, then pawn takes with checkmate. So interesting game, an up and down game for 1 minute. Maurice will always do these types of things to you if you play him. He's an interesting player, he's a strong player, and yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this, and I'm going to cut this off here, hopefully. Okay, so I forgot to include this part here. Okay, so I forgot to include why Rook C8 was bad for white, because you have to consider the possibility of white not just moving to D1 or D2. And the only way that cannot happen is by blocking this file or taking the rook here with the queen. You don't want to take the rook because then you're just giving that up. So the other option here is to block with the rook, which looks alright, you know, looks like not necessarily bad, but the problem here is that after black takes here, white can't recapture this knight here because he's going to lose his queen. Because if he captures here, then black plays, of course, rook c7, and it's a fork on the queen and the king, so that's bad. So that's what makes rook to c8 powerful, because if this block right here had worked without white being unable to recapture this knight, then white would be better off. But white cannot recapture the knight, so yeah, he's got to do something else. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to add this on to the last part. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching. Tune in to the next one.